Well, he's back, and coal CEO Bob Murray says there is no turning back. The way this administration is going after his industry, we are all going to be paying through the nose. Welcome, everybody. On that happy thought, I'm Neil Cavuto. And even President Obama concedes his new regulations on power plants are going to cost us more. What bugs this coal CEO is he doesn't think the president really cares.
We must have reliable, low-cost electric power. And he's destroying it, as he said he would do. Has nothing to do with the environment, sir. It has to do with power. It has to do with getting power over the grid. When he said electric rates would skyrocket, he meant it. He's carrying it out. How would you want to get control of America the most? Do it through the electric power availability, rationing it, and the cost of electricity. That is what's happening. I am afraid to death for America, and the people in this country had better be.
Well, there goes that White House Christmas party invite. So you're feeling the heat yet? To Ben Stein and Charles Payne. Sandra Smith is here, along with Adam Lashinsky and Charlie Gasparino. Dega McDowell will be off for the next couple of weeks. We look forward to her return. In the meantime, Charles Payne, what do you make of what this coal CEO is saying?
Well, I agree it's a farce. I mean, think about the premise of this whole thing, that we're going to sacrifice all of this stuff. We're going to tax Americans. Energy bills are going to be necessarily higher because the planet might get 1 degree warmer in the next 100 years. In the meantime, $18 trillion in debt, no problem. That's not an imminent threat. I mean, just think of it for a moment. He's absolutely right with the premise of it all.
Sandra?
Look, this is the adverse effects of too much government regulation and mandation. This is what happens. Look, I happen to agree with him. We're going to face a really stark reality. Consumer electric bills are going to continue to go up. Energy prices are going to continue to go up. And the government is going to continue on this track based on climate change results that they see that not everybody agrees on, but we're all going to have to agree on paying higher energy prices.
Well, Adam, I hope you're proud of yourself.
I was just thinking that, in fact, not everybody agrees that the world is round, but the world is, in fact, round. And I happen to, I think this is it.
Yeah, it's not quite round, though, right? Adam, it's not quite round. There's a name for it. It's not quite round.
Charlie has plenty of time to prove it to you, but I probably don't have enough time, Neil, to do that right now. But I think it's an interesting conversation because the president and this coal executive actually are in agreement. The president believes, and I agree with him, there's no God-given right to low electricity prices.
There's no God-given right for a president to increase them by 30%.
No, it's a policy decision that we agree that climate change is a huge
policy
threat,
decision,
and
directly to the EPA. His decision.
Yeah,
that's not a debate.
There's a rulemaking process. He was elected president twice.
There's no rulemaking process. It's his process. Ben Stein, that's my fear. It's his rule by edict.
Well, everything is his rule. It's first of all, Adam, to the contrary notwithstanding, by no means all scientists agree that there is a global warming caused by man-made effects. By no means do all the scientists agree on that. That is one of the biggest myths of the liberals in this country. If it is true that it is caused where the Earth is in danger, of course it's worthwhile paying more electric bills, more electricity bills. But it is just not proved. We are assuming a fact that simply is not in evidence. The government would like us to believe it, but it's not.
You can say it as often as you like. Ben, you can say it as often as you like.
With all due respect, Adam.
Overwhelming majority of scientists agree on this.
By the way, just like there was overwhelming consensus.
With all due respect, sir, the overwhelming majority has been wrong over and over again.
Absolutely, and to that point, I didn't mean to jump on either of you, but I think I think it was 30, 40 years ago when I would see Time magazine covers and page one New York Times stories on the global cooling to come, and then there was this Leonard Nimoy narrated documentary that scared the you-know-what out of me when they said, well, if you like blizzards, get used to them. I mean, come on. I mean, that was then. What's different now?
Well, I would just say this. I mean, I'm all for alternative energies. I mean, listen, I think...
No, you're not. You're strike me as a solar and wind guy.
Let me finish my point.
Really? You're getting mad that someone interrupted you?
It's all right.
Well, la-da-dee-da.
You had Mr. Potter on there from...
He doesn't like going
yapping for forever. Now, just let me just say something.
Okay, pontificate away.
I believe not the overwhelming, but, there's definitely good evidence that there's global warming and some of this fossil fuel stuff contributes to that. But I will say this, if we're going to address this problem, we should not be addressing it right after a financial crisis where middle-class people need jobs. These sort of climate control things, all this stuff.
The president says you can get jobs.
Where are they? Solyndra?
No, I'm just saying. You disagree.
This hurts job
I'm not a
creation.
hater like you are. I'm trying to.
We should be doing this. We should be doing this when the economy is growing.
You don't mean a word of it.
And in that sense, I agree.
You are as disingenuous as the people you cover.
I agree with your buddy, Mr. Potter.
All right,
let me tell you what I have a problem with is that here the president is spending his time and energy pushing his climate change agenda, at the same time pushing up energy prices for everybody at home, but not spending any time or energy on approving the Keystone Pipeline or limiting our purchase of oil overseas. We have domestic oil production at a 27-year high in this country. We have an amazing amount of untapped resources.
Well, if it's at a high, then how is he limiting it?
We're still buying.
Because we get still more.
We're
still
but it's at a high.
Oil from the Middle East, Charlie.
I know, but it is at a high.
But bottom line,
I hate to say it, Charlie makes a good point.
No, he
That's exactly right.
Yes, I do, Adam.
Charles Payne.
If we unleash what we could do, we wouldn't have to import any oil from anyone else around the world.
Which is what Sandra was saying.
So
we wouldn't have any oil in 50 years.
You know what, Adam, let's say for a moment we all bought into what you're saying, right? The fact of the matter
Which would be a very drunk day in hell.
The fact of the matter is that China is not going to stop using coal. You know the number one power source in the world, the fastest growing? Coal. So China's not going to stop. India's not going to stop. Poland is building the biggest coal-fired power plant in their history.
Poland?
So here's the point, Adam. What will happen to the global climate problem if the rest of the world keeps on the path and we punish American citizens?
I agree and disagree. The Chinese absolutely will look at this. Pollution is a terrible problem for them, and it's going to become a huge political problem for them. They will deal with this. And I just want to make one quick point.
Why do you think that?
The president ran on this policy the same way he ran on health care reform.
He ran on a lot of things.
Got Obamacare passed. He's doing his job as president right now.
But you know, Adam, this is where it really, and I agree with some of what you say, but here's what it really gets down to. Environmentalists and this president, they don't care if they put people out of work based on their environmental policies.
Exactly.
They don't care if working class.
That's an oversimplification.
They are just so, they're like the new fundamentalists. I mean,
it's
you
talk
about Jerry Falwell, the environmentalists are the most fundamentalist people in the world.
But you know,
and they don't care about the suffering of the American people.
With all the deference, all the fine pounders, I think the most profound comments came from Ben Stein at the outset. We have been here before. We have made these assumptions before, and it was just half a generation ago that we were fearing the whole world was going to be ice, and that the consensus was that it was going to be ice, and that you know, we were going to have to be wearing parkas all year round. That was then.
With all due respect to Adam, whom we all love, and like a brother and a son in my case.
Not all the time.
Like a son. We just don't know the answer. And the fact that a whole bunch of scientists put their name on something doesn't mean they know the answer. We all had crazy ideas about many things in the past that scientists said were valid. The question is the data irrefutable? And if it is, then let's go forward with doing whatever we can. But it's not irrefutable.
Follow that up. I had George Shultz, multi-Republican cabinet secretary, who was here, part of this group that included Hank Paulson, who Gaspo knows very, very well, who says we should be aware of this, and in fact they formed a group to be aware of this, has an insurance policy just in case something goes bad. When I asked the secretary to put sort of numbers to that insurance policy, he demurred. But my point was, there's a group of people who say, well, what's the harm in taking out an insurance policy to be sure that we're on top of this? You say what? Well,
the harm is it doesn't do any good. It's like saying we're going to take out insurance against only yellow cars crashing into our car, because there are so many countries around the world that are still burning so much coal. If we make big changes, it's not going to help the world situation very much. It's like our governor, Jerry Brown, who's putting in drastic climate controls in California, as if that was going to change the position of the whole world's climate.
Right, and the harm is the American people will suffer before we figure out the right technology, and people are going to be out of work.
But Schultz's argument, if I remember correctly, was that if you take out insurance policy to prepare for something that you might not bet it's coming, you're in better shape.
Neil, it depends on the insurance policy. The radical environmentalists do not...
I guess I should have come up with that in the interview.
Do not care about putting people out of work. And listen, environmental policy has been very good for this country. The Hudson River is a lot cleaner now than it was 30 years ago. That's a good thing.
Which is where you're going.
We agree with that. We all agree with that.